Manchester United signed Jadon Sancho in the summer of 2021 and Manchester City followed by splashing the cash on Jack Grealish. Sancho signed for United from Borussia Dortmund for a fee of £72.9 million and just under 2 weeks later, Grealish officially signed for City from Aston Villa for £100 million, which made his move to the Etihad the biggest deal in British football history. Across the 3 seasons leading up to those multi-million transfers, Raheem Sterling was the only English player to record more goal involvements, 110, than Sancho, 109, and yet it was Grealish that commanded the record transfer fee. Grealish had recorded just 51 goal involvements, goals and assists combined, across that same period, and that suggested that United had secured quite a coup with Sancho, who came with a reputation as one of Europe's finest young talents. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was thrilled with his new recruit and he predicted Sancho would become world-class at Old Trafford, but there have been almost 2 years since he signed and he's become an enigma instead. Sancho was always bound to be compared to Grealish. Although both of the players' first seasons were underwhelming, the latter has started to deliver for Pep Guardiola and he's also valued in the England national team setup, whilst Sancho is not. The penny has dropped for Grealish and he's finally started to look worth the investment, but just across the city, Sancho has struggled to find rhythm and it's understood Erik ten Hag is becoming increasingly patient with him. The winger took 3 months away from the squad earlier this season and the situation was expertly handled. Ten Hag was sensitive. He gave Sancho his guidance and the player looked renewed upon his return, but he's failed to impress since. His return from his layoff against Nottingham Forest in February, when he was greeted by chants of Sancho, Sancho, Sancho as he entered the field, was heartwarming and supporters desperately wanted him to progress from there. Yet his performances have not been at the level that was hoped. Sancho has shown glimmers and flashes of his ability, but his displays have been largely indifferent and not of the caliber required to win a starting position in the lineup. Although he looked sharp in the 3-0 win against Leicester in February and his pass for Scott McTominay's goal against Everton this month was worthy of praise, he seems to have a tendency to drift through games. Sancho is also suffering an identity crisis on the pitch. He was signed to play on the right wing, but his strongest performances for United have been on the opposite side, a position that the undroppable Marcus Rashford occupies. When fit, Alejandro Garnacho is a capable deputy on the left and that leaves Sancho to fight for a place on the right. However, Antony was signed in a deal rising to €100 million, £85. 5 meters, and he's unsurprisingly first choice on that side. Sancho has even been deployed as a No. 10, but Bruno Fernandes and Marcel Sabitzer are naturally ahead of him in that midfield role. He does not have a settled position in the team and that is likely to have worsened his performance. So what is the solution? Sancho needed to make a statement in the absence of Rashford, which gave him the opportunity to start on the left over the last 2 weeks, in order to break out of the cycle, but he didn't seem to do enough. Rashford is expected to start against Sevilla on Thursday night, which means Sancho is set to be relocated to the bench. His performances needed to be emphatic when he got the chance to play, but they were just ordinary. The silver lining is Sancho certainly has time on his side. He is still only 23 years old, but he needs to show more in the final 6 weeks of the campaign, otherwise, he might eventually run out of time to break into the starting side. Sancho has been given patience and he needs to start repaying that on the pitch, sooner rather than later.